Wake up, everybody! Welcome to Navy SEAL Blog Talk Radio. I'm your host, David Rutherford. As a behavioral training specialist, motivational speaker, author, and life coach, my mission in life is to help you discover the behavioral truths behind what it takes for you to succeed in any environment imaginable. So stand by and let me help you embrace your fears, forge your self-confidence, and learn to live the team life. Hoo-yah! All right. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. All right, everybody, it's time to get up. I know you are fired up for this weekend's edition of Navy SEAL Blog Talk Radio. I know you've been chomping at the bit. Your fingernails are gone. There's nothing left on those things because all week you're like, that's right. And it's because you want to understand one thing, right? You want to understand the one idea behind what is going to make you perfect, right? What is going to make you just the best you could possibly be? And here comes an interesting question that every single person out there needs to ask yourself. You know, how many times do I need to do something before I become perfect, right? Before I can do it in my sleep with my eyes closed, turned around, backwards, upside down, and on my head, underwater with night vision goggles on, right? How many times does it take for you to do a burpee? How many times does it take to shoot your gun before you can hit at 1,000 meters with less than 1 minute of angle? How many miles in the ocean do you have to swim before you can swim that sub 65 minute 2 mile ocean swim? How many times? I got one for you. How many dates did you have to go on until you actually, no doubt, actually head over heels, no doubt, fall in love to where you're like, whambo. And how many times did you have to go on those dates so you knew? All right? And one more even better yet. How many times did you have to search for somebody to become your swim buddy? How many people did you go through? How many people did it take before you found the right team? Before you surrounded yourself with a group of people that made sure no matter what, that they were going to support you? How many times did it take? Now, I know what everybody out there in radio, blog, talk, radio land is all out there thinking right now. You're thinking for sure, I read Malcolm Gladwell's book, Outliers. I read that book. I know exactly how many times it takes. It takes 10,000 times, and then I become a master at something, right? Is that what it is? Is that what everybody believes? You know what I say? I say hogwash to that one, folks. Absolute hogwash. Because I'll tell you what. Let me tell you a little secret. I've shot well more than 10,000 rounds of ammunition, and I'm the farthest thing from a perfect shot there is out there. Now, don't get me wrong. I can shoot some pretty nice tight groupings out there, but I still have to get in and perform the basics to perfection. Now I know what you're saying. I know out there everybody's going, well, Rut, well, what do you want from me, buddy? There is no such thing as perfection. No matter what. No, there is no such thing. So why should I even strive to be perfect? And I say, because you know what? Because that's what makes you better. And I get what you're saying. I'm like, Roger that. I understand. I know what you're saying. I hear the excuse that's starting to build up in your consciousness that's ready to just kind of spew out into your active lifestyle. I get it, folks. Don't worry. I know that you don't want to practice. I know you don't want to get out there and crush yourself over and over and over again. I know you're the guy that's like, I got it. I know you're the person who's like, you know what? I've been doing this for 35 years and I'm good to go now, right? I get it, folks. You don't have to tell me that. But here's the deal. This show is all about telling you you're wrong. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying, you're wrong. And the reason is because I have been a part of one of the greatest organizations on the planet, the United States U.S. Navy SEAL teams, right? Known for our ability to perform the basics to perfection in the most insane environments on the planet. We're talking the mountains of Afghanistan, the streets of Ramadi. We're talking the Horn of Africa. We're talking in the middle of nowhere where nobody else knows. We're performing the basics to perfection in order to achieve mission success. Now, why do we do that? And why is it important in your life? Well, that's what today's show is all about, folks. Today's show is all about teaching you why performing the basics to perfection is so important in your life. Now, again, man, I don't want, you got to just suspend your disbelief or suspend your negativity for a minute, because that's one thing that we don't allow on Navy SEAL Blog Talk Radio at all in any way, shape, or form, is we don't allow your negativity, your negative insurgency to penetrate into our show, because our team ain't standing for it. If you want to be negative, go get on one of the other shows. Go call up Rush and complain to him. Go call up Hannity and bemoan about phony scandals. Go just start, bitching to everybody out there in the world who wants to engage in that negativity, because we don't do it here, folks. We're all about positive. We're all about motivation. And we're all about getting you squared away to live the team life through using frog logic. So that's what today's show is all about. And we're going to talk about why it's important in your life. And, we're also going to talk about how Navy SEALs forged this idea and this concept to a whole nother higher level. We're going to talk about BUDS and SQT. We're going to get into platoon life and being downrange. And then we're going to get into the frog logic concept. Like I said, folks, the frog logic concept is my motivational philosophy. It's something that's been rattling around up in here, and I wish I had like a keychain or something, because that's what it sounds like in my brain when my gray matter is shaking back and forth, back and forth. That's what's been going on for 20 years, because I've been searching. I swear I've been searching. I've been searching up and down, sideways and backways, to try and figure out what about the human condition enables us to succeed. Now, this search has taken me, around the world. It's taken me all over the place, not as a Navy SEAL, as a contractor or downrange, and then as a motivational speaker. I mean, man, I go all over the country talking to thousands of people a year, instilling motivation in them based on this philosophy, Now, here's the kicker to it. Now, everybody out there's got their own motivational philosophy. Everybody out there's trying to get people pumped up, and I dig that, right? The more, the better. The more motivational people we have out there, the better we're going to be. Now, one thing I want you to think about, though, is I combine this philosophy with 70 plus years of UDT Navy SEAL operational training and elite lifestyle performance doctrine to create what I call the frog logic concept. So we will finish today's show, or the first half of today's show off with, I'm going to introduce you to 4 concepts that will help you understand why performing the basics to perfection is so necessary. Now, in concept 1, here you go. All right, concept 1 is know that you don't know. And that's one of my favorite ones on the planet, because a little bit of honesty in everybody's life goes a long, long way, folks. Trust me, all right? I've lived a lot in my life where I just make believe in my own little head, right? The little things up, the little voices in my side going, no, Rut, you're good to go, man. You don't need to go harder. You don't need to push yourself. You don't need to wake up. You don't need to do the extra things to try and be perfect, because it doesn't matter. And you know what I say to myself? Hogwash, right? Because it does take that. What you don't know, it takes honesty, and you got to start with that. Concept 2 is you got to schedule a strict training regimen, and I'm talking both for your physical, for your mental, and for your spiritual, folks. Concept 3 is you got to stay clear of I got it, guys. You got to stay clear of the teammates and the people out there that are like, hey, man, hey, dude, listen, I got this, dude. We don't need to do the extra work, brother. Hey, man, we're good, dude. You need to stay clear of those, and I'm going to tell you why. All right, and then last one, concept 4, life evolves, and so should you. And we're going to get into a couple different aspects of this, because, a lot of people don't get it. They think because I'm an old dog, old dogs don't teach, you can't teach them new tricks, right? Well, that's hogwash, folks. Again, man, this is just more lies that people are perpetuating within their own consciousness, because they just don't want to put the effort in. And I'm going to explain it, why life evolves, how it evolves, and how you should evolve with it too. So then we're going to take a short break, folks, and then after that, we're going to come back, and I want callers. If you're out there listening and you've got a question about what it means to be perfect, or how close you can get to perfect, or how Navy SEALs do it, or how you need to just spark your self-motivation, or maybe you just have a really badass story about how you became perfect in one thing you do. Maybe you're the world's greatest husband, or you're the world's greatest father because you got the thing on your wall next to your refrigerator that says world's greatest pop, call in and let me know why, and let our listeners know why, because this is huge, folks. This is huge. And So that's the deal. We're going to take a short break, get callers, and the call number is 760-913-4130. You call in, you get me on the line, and you ask me a question. If you don't want to do that, if you're a little nervous about being on the radio, then I want you to Twitter me, ask me a question on Twitter at David Rutherford at TeamFrogLogic.com, all right? All right, that's what you can go. Or you can hit me up on Facebook at David B. Rutherford. I already got one question brewing there this morning. So, ask me some questions and we'll be good to go, folks. All right. And then, where are we at? All right, so first, before we get started, before we get into defining basics and defining perfection, I want to give a big hoo-yah shout out to my brother whose birthday it is today. Eric, man, I hope you have the greatest day in the world. I hope the Lord is blessing you. I sure love you a ton, man, and it just, it means the world to me that you're my bro, and God bless you, and happy birthday, right? And I would sing happy birthday, otherwise I'd probably lose about 15,000 listeners. So I'm gonna skip that, all right? I'll leave the singing to my boy Jan Lennon and Lucy Wood with Frog Logic music, right? Okay, here we go. So let's get down to it. Why do we need to define basics first? Because one, we got to get everybody on the same sheet of music, because some of you folks out there like to come in from left field with just really peculiar definitions and stuff. And I'm not going to do that, all right? We're going to get everybody on the same sheet of music, and that way we can start thinking alike. And where do I go? My favorite source is Wikipedia. Unfortunately, Wikipedia did not have a good definition of basics, so I had to go to the freedictionary.com, but we got definition off Wikipedia for perfection. So let's get into basics. All right, here we go. Basics. A statement of fundamental facts or principles. Think about that, folks. Facts or principles, all right? A statement or assertion of verified information about something that in the case or has happened. And here's a little sentence. He supported his argument with an impressive array of facts. I don't even see how that means basics, but I guess he's sitting to it. All right, basics. Principles from which other truths can be derived. First, you must learn the fundamentals, right? And here in quotation, let's get down to the basics. All right. Now, the fundamentals, basics, rudimentary principles, all this stuff, that's what it is, folks. Now, if any of you don't understand the basics of being a human being, then I say you need to get retread, right? You need to go back to day one, week one, and get your greens on, get your starch greens, get yourself cold, wet, and sandy, and let's start from scratch, right? Because if you're not operating with the basic understanding of how to live in this world, then we're way off base. Like, we got to reset you somehow. Now, there are a lot of different ways you can do that. We're going to get into that in a minute. But let's first define perfection, right? The basics to perfection. All right. Perfection is, broadly, a statement of completeness and flawlessness. The term perfection is actually used to designate a range of diverse, if often kindred concept. I like that, kindred, almost family-like concepts. These concepts have historically been addressed in a number of discrete disciplines, notably mathematics. Never thought perfection was going to be called up with mathematics. There's no way you thought that, did you? Mathematics, physics, chemistry, ethics, aesthetics, ontology, and theology. All right, now when we get into a bunch of these things, there's all kinds of definitions if you go to Wikipedia about physics or chemistry and how it talks about perfection designating a model, all different kinds of stuff within biology. There's stuff here about art and the perfection of function in art, aesthetics, art theory. But here's one I want to get to. All right, so why is performing, here's another part, right? And this is what I took off. The one thing that you need to understand is here we go. That is perfect, which completely fulfills its functions. In social discourse, one speaks of a perfect artist, engineer, or carpenter. The term is used similarly in art criticism when speaking of perfect technique or perfect likeness of a person. Here again, perfection is either ideal or approximate realization of the model, right? So basically what these folks are saying is that, perfection is aspiring to be perfect. It's not so much that you create the most perfect thing on the planet, or you have the most perfect and emotional integrity or whatever, but you're striving to be perfect. You're striving to be the best. That's a huge component of thinking about perfection. It's not the fact that you're ever going to cross this imaginary finish line and be like, I rule. I am the best. I'm doing my little perfect dance right now for all you. I am the best. I perfected what I'm doing today. Well, folks, that just isn't going to happen, right? Because we know nobody can be 100% perfect. So let's get into the next part. Well, why is trying to perform the basics to perfection so critical in your life? Well, because life is always evolving, and if you don't keep your foundation intact, if you don't keep those fundamentals where they need to be, folks, then they're going to spiral out. They're going to fray on the ends, right? They're going to all of a sudden, next thing you know, you're going to be like, I've been kind of just winging it here for a while, and there's really no real retribution to this, and I can just keep going without even having to focus on the basics, because it's easy, right? It's easy to do that. It's easy to think about yourself as, hey, man, I'm good. I got this, dude. I don't need to reaffirm the basics of love. I don't need to forge my idea of a relationship. I don't need to work on my friendships every day. I don't need to work hard. I don't need to focus on working hard as a basic. I don't need to, you know what? My morals can take a break. They can take vacation or go some other place. I can do that and I'll get away with it. It's no big deal, right? I don't have to work on embracing my fear every day or forging my self-confidence. And especially, man, no way. I've got it down living the team life. I'm the world's greatest teammate. Just ask my mom or ask my brother or cousin or sisters, uncles, aunts, whatever. And I get you're good. I bet you'll get some answers that you didn't necessarily think were possible, folks. Because that's the deal, man. You have to forge this stuff, man. You have to work on this stuff over and over and over again, right? It just is what it is. Repetition is good. Let me say it again. Repetition is good. Repetition is good. Now, let me give you a little quick flashback, all right? Everybody out there who's kind of my age, right? And I just turned 41 last week or a couple weeks ago. But here you go. Here's one for you. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right. Electric company, right? I mean, think about all the things on Sesame Street that you saw. Repetition is good. 1 count, 2 count, 3. I mean, we have this stuff ingrained in our brain for a reason, folks, because you've done it over and over and over again. Now, it's funny, man. I heard this story about a buddy of mine recently was attending this interesting academic environment, this little seminar where this professor, this very prestigious professor, came out and was like, people that spend too much time on any one thing are really just not focused people. They don't know, they're not living life as they should. and it was funny because my buddy got all fired up and he's like, you know what? I don't think that's the case. There's no way, because I know a couple people. They're former Navy SEALs, and it was funny because one of them was sitting in the room with this guy at the time. He goes, these guys practice the basics to perfection every day, all day long, in order to be able to operate in those crazy environments and not make mistakes. So I'm not sure if I believe what you're saying. He's like, well, let me rephrase that. Let me adjust my fire so it fits into context with your questioning my original question, and blah 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 blah. Right? That's what happens, folks. When people start telling you they don't need to do something over and over again, they don't know what the heck's going on. Now, let me tell you some stuff here about SEAL training and why performing the basics to perfection are so critical with SEALs, right? Because SEALs are, when we get into things, we understand that performing the basics to perfection, it keeps you honest. It understands that, you're going to try something and you're going to fail. And you're going to try it again and you're going to fail again. And that's the way it is. And the more times you do it, the less you trim more fat off how you're doing things. And the next thing you know, you're doing things as smooth as you possibly can. Now add, 19 other guys in your platoon going Mach 3 wearing night vision, shooting fully automatic weapons and taking down some target. All right, folks, life requires you to perform the basics to perfection. Don't think when you do it once, you got it. It's just ridiculous. I mean, and that's why you do it over. It keeps you humble. It keeps you hungry to want to keep doing it. Now, let's look at why SEALs embrace this lesson, okay, and where it starts. And the number one place by far is in basic underwater demolition SEAL training. When you walk in the door, right? You walk in the door to this place, and the first thing they do is they start pulverizing you because your boots don't have a shine on it. And you're like, well, wait a minute, I was in the ocean all day yesterday and there's filled with salt. Wrong excuse, because you didn't work hard enough at shining and getting them all the salt out by pressing, flowing water through them for an hour in the morning or at night when you finish work, because you just wanted to go home, get in bed and curl up in a fetal position and suck your thumb because it was so hard. And guess what? And you didn't do what you needed to do to come back the next day ready for training, all right? Now, the fact is, in our training, in BUDS, you will repeat something until you get it right. Now, the funny thing is, it's combined with this, failure makes, hardens the soul. It hardens the commitment. It focuses the mind so you understand that you can endure when Murphy jumps up and puts the smack on your face, right? That it's okay if you just regress or fall back to that last level of training you had, which was the basics, you're gonna be all right. That's what you learn in BUDS. You learn to pay attention to the detail through all the little nitnoid little things that the instructors do to you on a regular basis. Now, I mean, you wouldn't even believe it. I mean, we spend hours sharpening our knives, right? Sharpening these knives to go on these swims to make sure, because it's a life-saving tool. So, you need to put the time and the effort in order to perfect that tool. So when the time comes, if God forbid you need it, that you have the right piece of gear to get you squared away. Now, if you didn't go back to practicing those basics of sharpening that knife in your routine every day, then your knife ain't going to be sharp. And you're going to fail inspection, and you're not going to be able to save your buddy's life. It's simple, folks, all right? So it really gets down to paying attention to those details for you in BUDS. And you learn that all the way through. You learn it from day one all the way through to graduating the rock and getting off the rock. That if you perform the basics to perfection, you do the things that they train you to do over and over and over again, you always have a fallback point. You always know that at least my gear is going to be squared away. At least my rucksack is dialed in. At least my boots are squared away. My feet are squared away. I took care of my back. I stretched out. I'm eating the right nutrition. I'm good to go. My swim buddy is good to go, because guess what? You need to help your swim buddy, perform the basics to perfection as well, too. Now, a lot of us in this world are all worried about me. Now, folks, that's the worst possible thing that you can do. Because if you put yourself out to assist with somebody else's basics, and you put yourself out to help another human being, to help the greater good, and that swim buddy's going to be like, man, well, I'm going to help you get squared away. I'm going to make sure your basics are right. I'm going to make sure you're good to go. Now, that's a cool thing, folks. But if you're the person that is sitting next to somebody, and you know they're not prepared, or they're not ready for a presentation or whatever, and you're just like, oh my God, look at this cat he's gonna fall miserable on his face, man, and you just let him flounder, well then, that sucks, man, because that's not cool to do at all, and it ain't cool. Now, if you're that competitive that you want the people on your team, which is all basically doing the same thing, right? You're all working for an organization that's trying to achieve a mission, but yet you are in a competitive way with someone else that you're going to sabotage them or not even reach out to help them make sure that their fundamentals are squared away, then you suck. Period. I'm sorry. All those people out there right now who are like, oh no, he just told someone they suck. That hurts his feelings. I say, get over it. This life is challenging, folks. Life is hard. Just leave your hometown and go hang out in India or the Middle East, or go have a chat with old Taliban Ted once, and that'll change your mind pretty quickly on how hard life is. Now, can you imagine if the SEALs, if we just said, screw it, yeah, we tried it once and we're good to go? Man, it's just insanity, man. I mean, you can just go, insanity. All right, so where does it move into that next level in SQT, right? Because you take these robots and they finish hard and they're paying attention to details, and now all of a sudden you got them in training. They're doing, more elaborate IADs, they're doing mount work, they're doing all kinds of cool stuff, but yet you have to start saying, hey, man, you got to start thinking. You got to make some calls on your own. You got to be proactive. We're going to give you the list of the schedule. We're going to tell you what tomorrow brings, but you need to start utilizing your autonomy as new frogmen, as people that are good to go, and you need to start coming out of your little shell and being proactive. Oh my gosh. You've got to push the basics out a little bit further? You mean I don't just hold them here around my own little 4x4 foot cubicle and I just keep them contained and I hold on with a bear hug to make sure I'm good to go? No, folks, you don't do that. What you do is you push them out. You expand on your basics. You improve on your basics. You get a little bit better, and that's what we teach at SQT. We teach these young men to go to the next level, to start thinking for themselves, to be creative on the battlefield, if you will, because the battlefield is this kind of omnidirectional, ever-changing, Kafka-esque, metamorphosizing craziness that is coming at you from every single direction, not only externally physically, but internally, mentally, and spiritually as well too. So if you're not strong and dialed in on your fundamental basics, then that environment is going to chew you up and spit you out on the ground on a battlefield of life, folks. So that's the deal, man. That is the deal. All right. So once they get through SQT, we teach them, then they hit platoon life. And platoon life is go time, folks. It is go time because now there are no excuses anymore. You have all the preparatory training that you need to understand, paying attention to the details, to push your basic fundamentals to the next level. So I don't even have to think about it. You walk into a platoon, and I've been around it. I mean, you think about this. Think about the guys that have 400 combat missions, or think about the guys that have been going big for the last 13 years in Iraq, Afghanistan, Horn of Africa, all over the place. You think about what happens when a new guy comes in their platoon. And these guys are working at Mach 10, right? These guys have been there and done that in so many different ways that it invents I wish there was a whole new thing that came out as a result of that. So these new guys come in and they have buds in SQT. Guess what? They need to up their game. It is not the responsibility, although they take it upon themselves to make sure that those young guys are dialed in and raise their bar of performance, right? Their perfection level, their attention to detail, their performance of basics. They raise it, of course, because the training itself is so fast-paced and so aggressive and so awesome that that's what happens. But it's the person's responsibility. It's the new guy in the platoon, the FNG. It's their responsibility, their accountability to perform the basics to that next level, folks. Now, are you doing that? Think about yourself and going into a new job. Do you do that, or do you just sit back and you're like, hey, I'm good to go, buddy. I've been doing this 30 years. Well, you haven't been doing it 30 years here, and we've got a little bit different way we do things. So we need you to suck it up, put your pride in check, and come on board the team and do it the way our SOPs are defined. Oh, sorry. It's that simple, folks. It's that simple. So, and it really comes down to, for us, remember, we're not talking about going to cooking school or we're not talking about doing something I don't know, selling, I don't even know, selling something out there. We're talking about life and death. All right, we're talking about life and death. And if we make mistakes, if our basics aren't dialed in, if we punch into a room doing a 2-man or 4-man entry and we don't get our corner, hug our wall, call a move and drill at the right time and place, and engage our targets effectively with smoke or crash bangs flashing in the room at night after, a 4-click hump in with a 100-pound ruck, if we don't hit our shots, we're dead. We're dead. So think about that. Think about that is the level that pushes us to make sure we don't do it. Now, here's the deal, folks. You can embrace that too. yeah, you're not going into work, man, and nobody's out there going to pull a gun on you. Although in crazy world we live in, it's possible always, but likelihood is highly unlikely, right? So, but you're going to go, and it's the expectation of performance. It's what you've agreed to do. You've signed on your little dotted line. Yes, I agree. I agree to the terms and conditions of this contract, and I will perform at the highest possible level, and I will do what I need to do in order to make sure that this team performs and I do my job. And then 2 weeks into it, you sit back and you go, I got this figured out. I'm good to go. I don't need to do all that. I can do the bare minimum and then slide by and get my paycheck and whatever. I mean, how does that make you feel? I mean, does that make you feel good? Because that would just turn my stomach inside out, upside down, and I would be like, man, that's insanity. I would never want to do that. Well, it doesn't happen in the SEAL community. Yeah, all right. Yeah, I got some teammates out there that are going rut and halt and halt. There are definitely some SBs in the teams, right? There's SBs everywhere, folks, but not that many. And when we take care of it. And that's another part of it, right? If you want people to perform to an elevated level, you've got to hold people accountable and be okay with that. You can't be just afraid to do things because your HR people are like, you can't do that to that person. If you do that, they're going to sue us and we can't do that. Negative, folks. You put it in your contract. Hey, if you don't perform the basics as much to perfection as possible and hold yourself to a strict adherence to our standard of operation, then you're gone. Boot in the butt, gone. And that's the way it needs to be, folks. All right. So if you think about it, that's really how SEALs get to where they're going to go. That's how they operate. That's how they really become the best possible, and why we can draw our weapon the same time every single day, punch out, boom, 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 and engage our targets left to right, right to left, up to down, sideways, backways, on our backs, rolling around, doing the Mel Gibson thing, and we can engage our targets and hit them because we perform the basics to perfection. Awesome. All right. I hope everybody's fired up right now. Let me take a little drink of water, agua. Oh, that's good. All right, so now let's get into the frog logic concept, all right? And again, folks, this is a philosophy that I've been working on for 20 years. 20 years. I mean, from the lacrosse fields of Penn State to the frigid waters of the Pacific, the mountains of Afghanistan, the shores of Haiti on a mission trip, to all around the country as a top motivational speaker, and also, helping kids. I mean, I've spoken to over 11,000 kids in Canada and in America, it just really, it works, folks. This concept is amazing, all right? And these concepts that I've created are all stem, really from the basics of 70 years of UDT Navy SEAL operational training, lead lifestyle performance. That's where I combine this stuff, and so I'm pretty sure that this stuff is a winner. I mean, I get 25, 35 emails a week saying, Rut, man, your stuff is changing my life, brother. Thank you so much. And I wrote a book, folks. If you want to get out there and understand the frog logic concept in its original fashion and origin, please check out my book, Navy SEAL Training Self-Confidence. And in that, I lay out 8 missions to help you embrace your fears, forge your self-confidence, and learn to live the team life. Now, you can find that book on my web store at teamfroglogic.com, teamfroglogicstore.com. And if you want to know more about me, go to teamfroglogic.com. You can find me on Facebook, where I give a daily dose of motivation every single morning. And then I'm on Twitter giving motivation, LinkedIn, Google+. I'm on Pinterest. You name it, I'm out there on the social media. And I'm out there. My sole mission in life, folks, is to help you stay motivated. It's to help you understand that living the team life is the way to go, folks. And I promise you, man, this stuff works. I know it. It's proven. I've done it. I've gone up the roller coaster and down the roller coaster. I've seen it, and I've helped people. I've helped thousands of people. I've got over 1 million views on YouTube, folks. And check out my YouTube videos. If you don't believe me, just get down there, listen to the message, and get it fired up. Okay. So the frog logic concept on how to get you to understand performing the basics to perfection. And this is where we start. Here's concept 1. Here's the deal. You ready? Are you ready for this? Here's the deal. You know that you don't know, okay? You know. You can't fake that. You can't fake when something comes up and you get stumped with something that you're not performing at the highest level. And that's where that whole honesty thing in life comes in, right? Being honest with yourself and understanding that, hey, I don't know what I'm doing here, and I need to get myself squared away. Now, if you don't know, here's the funny thing. If you don't know and you're not being honest with yourself, then what you got to do is you got to go test yourself. You got to test yourself exactly what you're capable of. Now, if you're a little afraid to do it in front of everybody, so nobody knows that you've been just faking it for so long, then test yourself in a different way. Test yourself at home. Test yourself out, sign up for a triathlon, sign up for, a spelling bee, sign up for something, folks, that tests where you're at in life. And if you don't, after you fail miserably, or even if you perform to a whole stellar level, man, are you like, all right, I'm either good to go or I suck. And folks, you need to embrace the suck, okay? Now, a lot of people talk about embracing the suck with fitness and all that craziness. I'm just talking about embracing the suck inside yourself that you don't know the deal, all right? Because when you don't know the deal, folks, you're affecting everyone else out there, your entire team. Now, that is unsatisfactory, and it's time to change that today, folks. All right, that's the deal. So that's concept one, all right? The next concept here is to formulate a strict training schedule. And I preach this, man, training. Repetition is good. Repetition is good. Repetition is good. And if you don't believe me, set it up and try it. Here's one little training regimen you can do. All right, so for your spouse or your significant other, from now on, from starting tomorrow morning, or starting today, right? Starting today, every time that you see your spouse, walk up to them, give them a kiss, give them a huge hug, and tell them you love them. All right? That's what I want you to do. Every time for the next week. And watch what happens to your relationship. No, I'm serious, folks. You think I'm kidding, man. You thought I was going to get out there and tell you to go do burpees or go rucking 20 miles and trying it and making and improving that way. No, I'm talking with the most strategic tactical piece of gear that you have, that you've had the longest, that you know the most about. Love, I want you to go out there starting today, and every time you're around that person that means the most to you, stop, give them a kiss, give them a hug, and tell them you love them. And watch what happens, folks. Watch what happens. All right. So that's your strict training schedule, all right? And then that really is a commitment that you cannot pass on. You can't pass the buck on that commitment, because as soon as you stop, your skills go to waste. That even if you do it 10,000 times, folks, your skills deteriorate. It is a fact of the matter. You ask I'll tell you what, you ask this, I'm training with one of the greatest jiu-jitsu guys on the planet, man, Renato Traveras from American Top Team. You can check him out online. Go to, just look for Renato Traveras, American Top Team. He's got dojos all around the place. Well, this guy, he's the deal, man. He says, if you don't roll, then you're going to suck. If you don't do it, it's not going to happen. And you can get all the way up, but guess what, man? The cobwebs settle in, and it just you start, and you get rusty. It is what it is. Well, that thing applies to every aspect of your life, folks. All right. So the next concept 3 is you got to stay clear of the guys that are like, I got it. Don't worry about it. I got it. Because those people are going to screw you over. I'm telling you, if those are the people that are in you're working with, and you're like, all right, let's train. Let's go do some training. Let's do some extra work to get better at what we're doing. And they're like, nah, dude, we're good. Let's go party. Think about what that's saying. What's that saying? They're saying, hey, I don't really care about your request. 2, I don't really care about what I'm doing. And 3, I'm so egomaniacal that I actually believe that I don't need to train to improve myself to become better in life. I mean, think about how ridiculous that is, folks. I know guys that have been at SEAL Team 6 for years. Do you think they all just go do a couple deployments and then they sit back in the rocking chairs around the pool sipping Mai Tais? That's insane, man. That's nuts. I can't even believe people out there even do this. And then the worst of is if they get a little taste of success, man, then they all of a sudden, the next thing they know, they're like, all right, I got it even more, man. I'm rich. I'm driving a Bentley. I live in a big house. I don't need to do squat. Well, dude, what good are you if you're not going to give some of that back or even improve a little help to teach somebody else how to get there? It makes me go bonkers, folks. So that's the deal, man. If you're around people that are I got it, or whatever, and saying, hey man, fake it until you make it, dude. I want to just drill those people right in their center of their nose and be like, shut up already. That's driving me nuts. All you're doing is bringing down everybody around you. If you want to fail and fall right on your butt, then go right ahead. But by all means, don't infect anybody else with your negativity by bringing them down to your level, because what are you doing for society? How are you having a positive impact by saying just, fake it until you make it, folks? That's ridiculous. All right? You want to know how you do it? You work your ass off, you get better, you perform the basics to perfection, and then when you get the time and opportunity to prove yourself, you do it in front of your team, and they're like, hoo-yah! Way to go, Rut, man. Get over here, get on the team, and let's go kick some friggin' doors in. That's how it works, folks. That's how it works. All right. The last one I want to talk about is concept 4 here, and this is life evolves, so should you. Now, this is another one of those common sense, like real world things that I've experienced on so many different planes, folks. And the best way I can kind of surmise it or put it in context for all you guys is, think about this. Is Al-Qaeda out there right now just sitting tight? Have they stopped after Osama bin Laden got killed or popped or whatever, and that insane operation by SEAL Team 6? And hoo-yah, guys, way to go. Thank you so much for, that huge pride. And also, how about the other, we just, the Department of State just shut down every embassy overseas. Well, duh, what probably be a good idea, especially coming up on September 11th again, huh? But here's the deal, folks. They're not. They're training harder than ever. They're reaching out. They're starting their franchises all over the place because they want to win. They want to win. And they realize that performing the basics to perfection by becoming more crazy, becoming more idealistic, becoming more fanatical about ridding the world of the infidel, then guess what? They're getting better. And if you don't have the integrity or the honesty or whatever to admit that to yourself, then guess what? You need to wake up, because it's happening right now. And your competitor is doing the same thing. The person out there that owns the company that's directly competing with you, they're doing the same thing. The guy next to you who wants your job, he's doing the same thing. The person down the one, right? The mom who wants their kid to get the spot on the team or whatever, she's doing more work to make her kid better. Are you? All right? That's the deal, folks. Life is evolving. It constantly changes. Tactics, procedures, SOPs, they're evolving all the time. Now, if you're not evolving with it, then you're wrong. If you're not morphing your basic understanding of what details you need in order to succeed, then you're out of, I can't even begin to believe that people really think that if they just rest on their laurels and they did something 25 years ago and they're using the Letterman complex and they're just embracing this whole comfort zone behavior, then they're going to be successful. You're insane, folks. It's time to get motivated, get off your butt, get off the couch, and start training and evolve with life. Now, here's the kicker, folks. What I want you to do is evolve into a better person. How do you do that? Well, because you need to practice the basics to perfection with your faith. That's right, folks, with your faith. If you want your team to be better, have faith in them. If you want yourself to be better, have faith in yourself. If you want God to be better for you, have greater faith in God. That's the deal, folks, because the more faith you put out there, the harder you practice on that standard basic thing in your life, that spirituality, that belief in the greater, in the higher power, the greater good, or whatever, that humanity is actually a pretty cool thing and we're dialed in, and that all these knuckleheads that are force-feeding us down, force-feeding us down with the most crazy negativity on the planet, that they're going to win? No, they're not. They are not going to defeat me. They are not going to defeat my team. They are not going to defeat any of you out there. There's no chance. I'm telling you, they are not going to beat you if you have faith. Have faith, folks. Have faith. I'm telling you, it works. All right, all right. That ends up the frog logic concept. So I hope everybody out there is dialed in. I hope everybody is really embracing this whole thing, and you're getting it. You're getting it. Now I'm gonna skip taking a break here because I just want to make sure that we only have like 15 minutes left here, so I want to make sure I get everything in. So let me just take a quick drink, and then callers. Callers, do you got any? Who wants to give me a call today at 760-913-4130? If you got a call, you want to ask me a question about performing the basics to perfection. If you wanna talk about Navy SEAL training, if you want to ask me about anything, go ahead and call me in, folks. Give me a ring, give me a shout, or hit me up on Twitter. Give me a Twitter a question, and I'll answer it right now online here. So I will start out with I got a Facebook question that came in, and here it is right now. So here's a good question. So this one guy that is a good mug, good fan of mine on Facebook. He writes and he goes, "All right, I live out in the middle of nowhere. How do I go and develop a swim buddy or find a swim buddy?" And my answer to you is, hey brother, you got to get off your butt. Your swim buddies aren't coming to you, folks. All right, it's not their responsibility to find you. Excuse me. You've actually got to get off your tuchus and go recruit somebody that you feel is going to help you. And if you got to drive 100 miles to do it, then you got to do it. I've got this incredible friend of mine that I contracted with, amazing guy that lives in Mississippi, and the guy drives all the way to Atlanta to go perform in what his passion is in life with this top-notch instructor there. And it's 4 hours both ways, but the guy does it like once a week, man, because he wants to be the best. And that's his swim buddy. That's his mentor. That's a guy that is getting him to the place where he can open life and twist him and rear naked guillotine somebody and put him down. And because he's so committed to it, he's willing to do that. So if you're not committed to making yourself better, if you're not committed to performing your basics, whoever teaching you, whoever your swim buddy is, whoever your instructor, your guide, your mentor, if you're not willing to put out and sacrifice, then guess what? It's never going to happen to you, folks. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to break the bad news to you, but it's actually good news because for once, someone's being honest with you that you need to get off your butt and go find what works for you. Find the swim buddy, find the team, find the training program that is going to right you in life, all right? So that was a good question. I dig that. All right, here we got another Twitter question coming up. This one just came in, and I love this dude. Always sends great questions. All right. Here's a question. What are some ways you mastered first aid as a corpsman, and what are some traits you see in your best students? That, my friends, is an awesome question. Well, for me, I got to say, when you first start out, it's really doing it over and over and over again, right? The first time you give an IV, you stink, man. You miss that vein. You go right through the antecubital. You perf. The guy looks like a heroin addict. I mean, it was so funny when I used to go through 18 Delta with all my buddies. We'd finish the day and we'd practice on each other all night to make sure we could do the IV sticks. And we, it was so funny. I mean, we all had track marks. It's crazy, dude. But that's what you do. You sacrifice. You take the pain that comes with that hard work, and you do it over and over and over and over again until where, by the end of my tour, where I was teaching, tactical combat casualty care to the U.S. government, I could basically, be on night vision on a helicopter doing a full side bank going 120 knots forward, scrunched in with 10 people around me, and I had a casualty. I can get a stick on him at night. Now, did it happen overnight, folks? Was I able to do that just, whoa, like all of a sudden, boom, I sprinkle a little pixie dust, a little tactical pixie dust on my body, and then all of a sudden I could do it? Negative. And halt. There's no way it happens. I had to do it hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. I mean, the funny thing is, dude, my vein, my vascularity, I've got teeny little veins. So when guys wanted to get really good, especially, my first platoon, I had awesome, man. One of the greatest guys I learned more medicine from than almost any other people on the planet. This guy, Will, this guy, when he wanted to practice on me because my veins stunk trying to hit. So I would let him do it over and over and over again until he got it, man. And once he could stick me at night on nines, man, he was good to go. But folks, that's what you do, man. That's what you do. And if you're not doing that, if you're not putting forth the effort and the sacrifice to really get good at something, then what are you doing? I mean, seriously. I mean, are you just doing it to do it? Are you just waking up and like, oh, I'm just going to walk through life today and not care about what I'm doing and really take no accountability and I'm really just not passionate about what I'm doing? Well then, folks, what are you wasting your time for? Because you need to go find something you are passionate about. Because if you don't do that, I'm telling you, folks, if you're not out there seeking, actively seeking, following your dreams, you're going to get into this mundane, this sense of the status quo in life, and you're not going to push yourself to embrace and become better. You're not going to embrace training at the higher level. You're not going to be better if you don't care. And so you got to care about what you're doing. Now, the second half of this question, which was awesome, by the way, just absolutely awesome, folks, was what are some of the traits that you see in your best students? Now, you got to understand, folks, I have trained people around the world. I've trained over 1,000 commandos, and I'm talking from SEALs to everybody under the sun around the world and almost everything there is, to deal with tactical operations and all that stuff. And so I've done a little training. Plus, I've also, been training, doing the motivational speaking and live and professional private coaching and mentoring. I've been doing this now for going on 8 years, folks, specifically where it comes to behavioral training, all right? So I've seen it. I've been through it myself. I've experienced the highest level training anywhere. So I know exactly what it takes to identify somebody that is going to be an awesome student. And now here's the secret. All right, so everybody, I hope you're all right, stop what you're doing for 1 second because I'm going to tell you the secret. Here's the thing. Here's what makes people awesome. No, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. You know what makes people awesome? They love what they do. They're passionate. They absolutely love what they do. They have a smile on their face. They're happy to be there every single day. Yeah, don't get me wrong, guys. I know people have down days. Even I have down days. Just ask my wife, who I affectionately call the Admiral. She'll tell you I get fussy face all the time. In fact, stress builds up. It happens. But if we have the right swim buddy, the right team around us, they can smack that right out of our face, out of our minds, and get us back on track. But if you're positive and you love what you do, now folks, I absolutely love what I do. I love writing books about motivation. I love being on my radio show talking to all of you. I love sharing what I've experienced in this world as a Navy SEAL, as a security contractor, as an author, as a motivational speaker, as a behavioral training specialist. I absolutely love what I do. And if you can't hear that in my voice, then I think you need to get your earlobe recalibrated, right? The fact is, if you are passionate and love what you do, you will be the best student possible. Now, if you're not, folks, if you don't want to be where you're at and you want to fight it and you don't want to commit to learning the fundamentals and practicing the basics, then you're going to suck as a student. And trust me, I know this. I did suck as a student. That's why I had to drop out of college, because I wasn't committed to getting good grades and being a great student. It's just that wasn't where I was, and I didn't have the mental fortitude to suck it up, stop whining like a little sis, and get committed on the credible opportunity I had of going to Penn State University. But that's neither here nor there, right? What I'm talking about now, folks, is if you want to be the best possible student, or you want to identify the best possible person on your team, find the person who's passionate. All right. Find the person who loves what they do. Now, if you don't have that and they're just there going about their business, then you need to take a minute and you need to sit that person down. And you need to say to them point blank, look them square in the face, right in between their little T section on their eyes and their nose. You look them right there in the pinpoint of their head, and you need to say, here's the deal. I got a question for you, folks. Do you love what you do? Are you passionate about this? Well, why not? And you got to hear what they're going to say to you. You got to understand what these people want to say to you. And you got to realize that if they're not going to tell you, if they're not, oh yeah, that's awesome, and then you watch them and their performance is it's atrocious, they're just full of it and they're lying, and then you got to hit them again. Why did you lie to me? I know you don't love what you're doing. Man, folks, honesty is the greatest way to find out anything in this life, right? And it also enhances your integrity. It makes you an honorable person. It makes you squared away. So that's the deal, folks. You got to be honest. You got to be passionate. And you got to love what you do. If you're not, you will lack the faith in what you do. You won't be able to stay clear of the I got it guys, because that'll be you. You won't be able to, you won't want to stick to a strict training regimen at all, because you won't care. And folks, you won't be honest with yourself. And those are the frog logic concepts that you need to focus on, performing the basics to perfection. Just like SEALs do, just like we do in training, right? Just like we do in BUDS, just like we do at SQT, just like we do in the platoon life, and we do downrange in combat, because we don't have the opportunity for the mistakes, folks. So we take care of those mistakes in training. We take care of all those rehearsals. We rehearse and we rehearse and we rehearse, and we make sure we get it perfect and we get it down, because you can't make the mistakes in the combat. And folks, neither can you in the combat of life. Now, don't be afraid to make mistakes, because failure is good, but that's where you do it, in your training. So folks, man, if you haven't tested yourself in a while, and you haven't gotten out there and really understood, what it means to put yourself out there in a way that, makes you test yourself and makes you, you haven't put the 10,000 number in, or maybe you haven't gone to training in quite a while, then you're wrong. Because folks, the frog logic concepts, if you utilize these 4 things, then it will change your life. If you learn how to perform the basics to perfection, or maintain the intrinsic drive to do that, you're going to achieve mission success. All right. Woo! That was awesome. I mean, that felt good. That felt good to get that off my chest. I mean, I feel relieved, if you will, to have shared that with you. Now, here's the deal. I just want to say some thanks to all the people who taught me this stuff, right? I want to thank all those in the Brotherhood, all my instructors who taught me how to perform the basics perfection. Corey Knowles, I mean, he's Cage CrossFit over in Tampa. Guy's amazing. Doug Schoen, amazing instructor. All these guys out there just really hammered me and taught me that if you perform the basics perfection, you're going to do awesome. Also, my other guys, Bruce Cunningham, man, awesome. Mike, you're out there. Matt, I mean, just amazing human beings that got me squared away in my teams. And then also, in my life since, man, all the people that have played a huge role, my friends and family, awesome, especially my wife. Thank you, because she teaches me that every single day I need to perform the basics of love to perfection. Because it ain't easy, folks. And every day it takes you embracing your fears, forging your self-confidence, and committing that team life so you can be the best possible teammate or swim buddy you can be. All right, folks. So here's the deal. I just want to share with you one more time. If you want to learn more about Team Frog Logic, you go to teamfroglogic.com. If you want to buy my book, just look up, Google Navy SEAL Training Self-Confidence. You can find it by David Rutherford. You can find it online on iBooks, on Kindle, Kobo, Nook. You can download it. It's on Amazon. You can get it off my web store at teamfroglogicstore.com. And also just want to tell you more about I'm broadcasting every single Saturday morning live, or you can download this show on iTunes at Navy SEAL Blog Talk Radio. And I'm also starting my own podcast, a motivational podcast of my daily doses that I give on Facebook every morning. And you can download those little snippets that get you fired up on your MP3 player, your Nano, whatever, your phone, that'll get you fired up, plus little 3-minute, 5-minute, and 10-minute motivational speeches that you can embrace into your life about the Frog Logic concept and get you fired up. And that's at Navy SEAL Podcast on iTunes. Well, folks, I just want to say thank you. I'm your host, David Rutherford. This is Navy SEAL Blog Talk Radio. My mission is to help you embrace your fears, forge your self-confidence, and learn to live the team life. And the last thing I don't want you to ever forget is, folks, I'm your new swim buddy, so let's get motivated. Ow!